5 seconds
you know,
remaining.
both teams kind of look,
Yeah, I sort of like.
Sure, that's true.
Fanatics turn to ban.
That transcends language barriers. Everybody at home understood that I was talking about.
No.
Eh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what that meant.
I feel like both teams just need to get better at
Dire
drafting.
team
I'll be
ban.
honest. I just
Yeah.
don't like their drafts much a lot.
I
I saw Neon. I think one of the
Fanatics
openers they
turn
really
to
like in their
ban.
games is Grimstroke Doom. Especially Doom. Henry plays it. He's like pretty good at it, to be honest. But then they
Dire
matched it with
team
something
ban.
like Arbang's Naga Siren 5, which was a surprising and new pick for us to see. But then you have a Naga who's
Brave,
stacking and a Doom that's unable to protect the stacks. Enemy Leshrac comes and takes the
Fanatics
stacks,
turn to
and then they're just like behind on net worth on their team. And you have a Naga 5. Like, it sucks.
Look, maybe Jab should concentrate more on studying draft and less on his green
I
screen.
was going to say the
No.
exact same thing. He seems to be really obsessed with these backgrounds.
Who-
but
I actually don't know who that is, but he's blowing on a mosquito repellent. Very
is that what
common.
that is?
Yeah, it's very
10
common. I don't know if
seconds
they have them
remaining.
here, but in Southeast Asia, they're all like that, and you put them in the outside, and
Okay.
they prevent you from
5
being eaten to
seconds
death.
remaining. Dire team.
Okay, well, Snapfire has been the preferred opener for Fnatic, and they are going to shake things up by going IO for once. So
What a, very well planned.
Dire team Fanatics
IO, the
turn.
Snapfire, and the Bane in the pool for whatever they want to take.
that's a feel-good combo right there, right? You've got Grimstroke against IO. You've got a very powerful combination with Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit is a great hero for being able to hunt down the IO, and whatever core you're about to pick up with IO very
10
likely doesn't have
seconds remaining.
enough lockdown to make Gyro.
Fanatics turn to ban.
Mars.
Oh,
Okay.
we're going with the Spirit strat. And they're picking Jab's hero early. What
That
a
is-
change.
Well, yeah, so I feel like I've seen a lot of teams banning Mars against Fnatic, because I know Jabs was playing a lot of Mars
Yep.
in the lead up to the DPC at least, so that seemed to be his like most
10
practiced
seconds
offlaner.
remaining.
That being said, it was surprising to me. Like I remember on their first series we were
5
talking about how like,
seconds
oh,
remaining.
he's new to playing offlane competitively. He
Dire
probably has a
team
small
ban.
pool of heroes, and then they just kept leaving his hero for last pick and gave him like a bunch of different heroes. Didn't even play like a Darkseer or something at one point. I mean, he's playing like
Fanatics turn to
Magnuses
ban.
and
He
Like I
has
said, like-
played
yeah.
Darkseer, Beastmaster, Mars, Magnus, Legion Commander,
yeah.
and then Magnus again.
He's actually pretty varied in his hero pool.
The guy has played in
Dire
3 different
team
positions
ban.
before. This is a small.
Fanatics
He's also had a
turn
small
to
stint in
ban.
offlane previously when he was in the Thai team. Dude, like when Jab was part of the Thai scene, since he was the best player, he could play any position. He was the best Thai player in that position, except for carry, right? So I have always trusted his versatility. Jabs is a god.
Yeah. Well, Mars, standard as it gets. Let's go.
10
Yeah,
seconds
honestly.
It's all
remaining.
reliable. FBZ's been having extreme success with Mars. I mean, a lot of teams have
5
been, but
seconds
it'd be
remaining.
nice to see him have the impact of those other teams. Like we were just saying, we would like to see him be more proactive. I think Mars lets you do that. You can go to any lane, get kills with him, push
Dire
towers. He's just
team
a big,
ban.
sturdy dude that can make stuff happen on the
Dire
map.
team
I
pick.
think what's interesting about all the heroes that we
Fanatics
listed
turn
is
to
yeah,
pick.
there's a lot of different heroes, but
Mirana.
pretty much every single one of those like very traditional offlane hero. Where a lot of times when we see people adjust over to a role that they haven't played in a while or maybe have never played, it's usually they take some of their heroes
Right.
over into that role, right? All of a sudden we're playing DK
10
offlane.
seconds remaining.
But we haven't actually seen that from Jabs, and I would actually
5
maybe
seconds
prefer
remaining.
to be able to see some of that. But Mirana up next for OB.Neon. I haven't
Mirana-
seen like a ton of Mirana lately, but I never hate it. That's for
With
sure.
Ember, it's decent.
Yeah,
Which
absolutely.
what's very interesting to me is that the OB.Neon draft looks exactly like Army Geniuses when they had Malangdaya, which is you pick him Ember, Conquer, Co-op, because he doesn't play anything else unless he's playing tier 3 tournaments. Then you go and enable him hard, which Grimstroke and Mirana does, and he kind of carries the game for you, which is an interesting way of drafting.
Yeah, I'm curious about the Mirana pick only for what they're going to pair it with in the offlane. Just because Mars is usually something that pairs well with Mirana, if not OD. Both OD's banned, Mars is picked on a team.
Fanatics
I'm not
turn
quite sure
to
what they
pick.
want to put with it. Maybe like a Sand King
Of
could be decent.
pain.
I know
Dire
it's not exactly a
team
combo
pick.
with Mirana and lane, but people like Tango against Mars, and they've just picked a bad, and so they have 2 healing supports that aren't going to be very proactive on the map, like in terms of stun and control. So that leaves like Pango having a pretty free game.
I like the Pango idea, actually.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds
yeah.
remaining.
We're gonna have to see because all of a sudden a draft flew through the studio. We just had to fix that quickly. But we have OB.Neon here on the next pick. What could we be seeing, Sheeple? What picks would you be enabling here? How do you diversify the strategy? You already talked about the Pango. What carry picks could we be seeing?
For Neon? So what I hate about Fnatic's draft is that they only have one stun right now on Mars. Quap could get an Orchid early, but it means that there's a lot of heroes that, you know, thrive when there's no lockdown, like Morphling. Loves playing against heroes like this. They've removed the Lifestealer from the pool with their bans, because that's a hero that likes to lane into Mars. I feel like most carries go even or lose to Mars in lane. We've seen like FBZ solo killing Medusa in lane with Mars.
Is PA viable here? Because that's always a hero that people talk about when Mars is like decent.
She's laning with Grimstroke, so it's like a combo that's just nice. Oh,
I wouldn't love it against Quap and Abaddon. I feel like they're just go on. I like to do more things.
Fnatic's turn to
mostly because they
ban.
have like Grimstroke.
Night Stalker.
Ooh, Night Stalker pickup. That's an anti-IO hero and
Dire
really good
team
against
ban.
Quap.
And
And
Mars
Mars
Fnatic's
silence is
turn
nice
to
against
ban.
Abaddon.
They have really, really good potential to fight here on Neon, because Night Stalker's going to ult and give flying vision, which means that Ember and Grim together are going to be able to just jump whoever they want.
How do you like the Night Stalker Mirana lane that you were talking about earlier? Is that
I mean, it's not really that. It's not like a lane. It's not like a we're going to kill you over and over lane the same
10
way like Mirana
seconds
plus stun would
remaining.
be, but it's like Mirana's going to... She's pretty great at trading with
5
the
seconds
support.
remaining.
She'll just sit back, try and trade and give Night Stalker a nice 1v1 core matchup. He's pretty strong, like especially if you get like braces and stuff, he can just sit against anyone.
Yeah, I think the only thing I really want is a Night Stalker is support that secures the range. I have Void, but I would prefer to never have to like really worry about the range creep. This Mirana just arrows the range creep and then walks away out of lane the rest.
Yeah. Well, and Neon have last pick, so I guess that's why they picked Night Stalker now. They're going to save their carry for the last pick, but it does mean stuff gets banned out.
They want to, like, because of this Abaddon pickup, they would prefer to be able to have, like, a range hero makes this Abaddon pick feel better. But at the same time, they can't grab a hero that is too susceptible to being run over, right? Because Ember Spirit Night Stalker would destroy, say, like a Drow. You know, you can't afford something. So something a little bit sturdier, like the Razor ban, I think. I'm not sure if
Fnatic's
Deuce
turn
is really
to
what
pick.
you want.
I would like to see a Conquer, I think,
Conquer.
against Aya would be really nice. I think it's a really strong laner against Mars.
Oh, for OB.Neon? Okay.
Yeah, for Neon. Strong in lane against Mars, Io, X for relocate, like, you know, to
He's
catch.
good against Abaddon because you can't dispel the X as well,
Dire
so you have a lot of
team
options
pick.
there.
Yeah, he's been really popular in Europe East, but I also think he would be fine against Terrorblade, to be honest.
You were like, I don't want something that's too susceptible, but also at the same time it's Raven, so you have to get a hard.
Phantom
You may
Okay,
now
nice.
select your heroes.
Okay, so PL's like the counter to TB, like
Yep.
traditionally.
And you don't really care about three of these. TB, Abaddon, and IO. Like Phantom Lancer is so good against IO, for example. I do wonder if the Shard makes IO feel like he at least has one small tool to defend himself against Phantom Lancer.
So all the illusions just get stunned as they
Yeah,
go.
but like otherwise, like you are literally just food. He just runs illusions at you, and possibly his real hero, and you're just gonna die instantly. You have no defense. So
My opinion here is that Jabs has to solo carry this game from the offlane. Like, if Palos has a good lane, I feel like this is over. They have no control for PL, and he
10
counters your
seconds
core matchup.
remaining.
Like, I mean, on the other hand, Terrorblade,
5
dude's an absolute
seconds
beast on the hero.
remaining.
Like, he's
It's true.
really good at
It's true.
Terrorblade. It's very high, but
I don't think
PL.
he's gonna be able to get to play the game. He's
Yeah.
got like too many heroes running at him. He's got silences to deal with, and he's got the core-to-core disadvantage. I think this is draft like 75-25 to OB.Neon.
Okay.
yeah, I agree
I
with
think
that.
it's pretty heavy outdraft, honestly.
Right. Our
Execution.
panel,
Woo.
our panel thinks it's an outdraft. OB.Neon might be taking this game, but we're gonna have to see because execution is what determines the outcome. And for that, we also have the wonderful casting pair of John Xfire and MLP Dota to narrate this encounter.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abo Plus. It is indeed MLP Dota and John X5. John, welcome back, sir. Another great Division 1 series between Fnatic and OB.Neon. I'm sure you were listening to the panel. They had absolutely no faith in the Fnatic draft, but I'll ask you before we get into this game number one, what are you thinking about these drafts, John?
I'd lean the same way. I think Neon's got the better draft here. I felt like a Kunkka might have been able to close out, but PL that works fantastically well as well. Fnatic has a lack of control. They've got to play to a very specific pace here. And we've got to see Jabs really do a lot of work in the Mars. I think I agree with all the points from the panel that a lot depends on the Mars to just shut down PL fast, to get control off, decide the spikes, and just kind of dictate the game from there. Neon, we already heard what Henry had to say. Pause their win condition. They know they can build around him. They have a really solid win condition that Pause won this game. So I think they can plan around that. Just give the PL as much time and space it needs to really build up here.
All right, fair enough. We'll get it. Game number one between Fnatic and OB.Neon set to get underway. Another thing that the panel was kind of disclosing earlier on, John, is both these teams have been looking rather lackluster as of late. I think Fnatic, if we kind of ignore those drafts, I think Fnatic is the slight favorite going into this, as OB.Neon hasn't really picked up a victory quite yet. Go on, John, give us the translations. What's happening?
John Jewell's asking if Enryu is taking a shower. Enryu says, yeah, you take a shower as well, Zhao. Why, guys? The gamer lifestyle isn't that extreme, you know? It's pretty warm here, although it's been a bit rainy, Mike. Just a heads up to everyone, there is a typhoon going through the middle part of the Philippines. Hopefully that doesn't affect us too much. And if you are in the affected areas, you probably shouldn't be watching. You should probably be staying safe. So keep yourself safe. That typhoon's pretty mean, Mike.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely not a very good time. I've personally never been involved in a typhoon, Jonathan, but I imagine it's not too much fun to deal with. Where were we though? Translation showers not happening apparently, or are happening between these two. I don't know why they're asking each other, as it looks like we've got even more to translate, but we are going to get back into game number one. I've never had that issue, by the way, John. I mean, I've been a gamer for the past 20 years. I've always showered. I don't even know why it's a thing.
I have no clue, but you know, John Yuel and Ryu, they were together in the team for a while. We've seen some behind the scenes of Neon from that period, so I can see it happening. I'm not going to say more. We've seen it. It's on Facebook. These guys live that gamer lifestyle. You know, it's the gaming mindset. You know, Kuku said Rendon mentality. There's a gaming mentality as well. I think Neon maybe embodied it a bit too hard in that time period. Who knows?
You wash my back, I wash yours. Isn't that the old saying, John? Nothing wrong with that.
I'll always remember how
At least it's something like that. We are going to have a bit of a fight down at the bot. Naniruin's spot, perhaps, as Raven and Genuo are there. Talos enjoying his voice line. Very happy to see it. Because shout out to Ares. Did get that voice line going. Very, very good. He's been very upset thinking about the time I had a voice line in the game, John. Just complete garbage. Complete garbage.
There's always more opportunities, Mike. We'll find your moment. Still, we're going to take a look at the lanes breaking out. Gotta make you feel good. You know, we'll see the lanes. We'll see if they feel good. Here, Armel on that quap up against Mamang Dai and the Ember. You and I had a bit of a discussion, and you had some strong feelings about Mamang Dai's Ember. I think the matchup here is not really too one-sided. Armel's got ways to play with it. And we've seen a lot of quaps maybe going for the Shadow Strike early on. That could be one way to manage that as well, but Armel will opt for the early Scream of Pain, just focusing on some good harassment and just leveraging his range advantage to maybe chip away at Mamang Dai. We'll have to watch. This is a very bottle-heavy mid. Right? You're going to have to really contest the Watt runes, really get the power runes going. And we'll see if either side will have the opportunities to rotate. I think you do have stronger supports on Neon, so Mamang Dai can kind of build up off of that support rotation from, say, the Mirana to kind of give himself a better time here.
Right now, Mamang Dai is having a very tough time, but we'll have a look down at the bot lane where you do see Raven and Genuel starting to get very aggressive. Narman, because they are going to be up against that Mirana and Enryu on that Night Stalker. Not the easiest lane in the world, but not the toughest either. Does feel like Raven, though, he's going to have a pretty chill time, I think, down at this bot lane. I really can't see any kills occurring here until maybe the level 6 mark for your Night Stalker, but even then, as long as Genuel's around, you should be just fine.
And this isn't the usual Mirana combination lane. You don't have a stun setup for the arrow. You don't really have a big kill opportunity. John Yuel on the Abaddon kind of counteracts that control anyway with the aquatic shield. So they can play pretty passively here on Fnatic. They're not going to get punished too hard. Just focus in on getting Raven really big on his terribly that he's been renowned for all the way back from Zeke fam times, and just kind of work from there. I think for Enryu, it's about patience for him as well. And the main thing for Narman is just to get these pulse off, use the arrow to get the range creep every time. He does not have camps. This large camp is called block, but just a steady game here.
They'll force the TP out from Enryu. He'll be just fine. Just have the salve available there from Narman, so he'll be okay as top lane. The final lane we have not discussed yet. Of course, you've got Palos and a Bing there against DJ and Jabs. The IO Mars lane once again here, and Jabs already kind of dominating this top lane. Of course, the panel did talk about the fact that Palos is kind of going uncounted and uncontested here on this PL this game. And so far, in terms of laning stage, it's not really too bad for him either. 9-1, not the best, but not the worst.
Yeah, you do still have to respect the Mars IO combination. Like, the amount of damage you can deal once the overcharge is popped on is pretty significant. And, of course, the Mars is pretty tanky. You can just see they get the overcharge off, they start to harass Palos away from wave. Abeng can't do too much about that. It's going to take them a few levels to really feel safe. And Palos doesn't have the defensive tool in Doppel to kind of dodge some of that damage. So you've got a bit of a window for Fnatic to play fast. And again, a lot of their momentum relies on Jabs to really hit that momentum for them.
Palos, he's being harassed out right now. So every time he gets close, Jabs just going to be able to throw the spear out and continue harassing away. And there's not really much a Ben can do to try and ward them off of that. So he's perfectly fine for now. In fact, there's been no kills on the map quite yet, which is something you don't see too often. Sure, it'll be coming very, very soon as Enryu bot lane going to be chased down a little bit, but it's not going to amount to much. In fact, mid lane, maybe Narman can land a nice arrow onto Armel, and he does get it. Mamantaya almost didn't believe his eyes. The arrow did come in, but Armel easily just going to blink away. No chains available on Mamantaya, so he had no way of locking Armel down. So the arrow, a bit of damage, but doesn't really amount to too much.
This is the pressure we were looking for on mid and like Narman with that rotation lines it up with a 4-minute water rune. Unfortunately, John Yuel read that, does manage to at least snag one away, but that still denies the refill for Armel. Their Quap's going to be refill-less. The bounty rune snagged away by Abeng as well, so you're going to have a bit of a harder time sustaining, and this is a crucial moment for the Quap. This is right at level 5. Mamdai is lagging behind in EXP. If he was closer to 6, with that bottle-less refill, with no refill in the bottle, I think Mamdai would have had a window to really pressure with a Remnant. Still, this does give him a little bit more control over the lane, and more chances to kind of catch up in CS here.
Absolutely. Speaking of CS though, you look back at Raven CS right now, 30-9 on this Terrorblade, and I mean, we talk about this all the time with Raven, but this is the Raven specialty, this Terrorblade. Countered or uncountered, he's playing TB and I just don't doubt it, John. I always have faith in the Raven TB to get the job done.
Oh yeah. Once he hits his spikes, he just farms like a beast. He knows where to be on the map. He knows when he can show up for these engagements as well. And down the line, he's not going to need too much farm. You're always going to have the Eye of the Overcharge to provide you some healing, to provide you more damage and attack speed as well. So the Terrorblade can be activated a lot faster if they want to here on Fnatic's side. And you're not really pressuring on Neon Sandal, though. Again, their emphasis seems to be on mid. They're just running Narman down, ensuring that Armel isn't too comfy on mid and is kind of forced to commit some resources for some regen on lane.
Well, he's being a real nuisance here, Narman. Towards the north, the Beng now. He's going to get chased down here by DJ. Beng, he's got a full creep wave with him. Bit of an awkward scenario, but Palos, he's going to be there, and Beng, he did have the hand up. DJ, he'll keep the chase up as now Jabs going to join in, but they won't be able to get within range to land a nice spear out. Palos, he will eventually walk away with the creep wave. In fact, he does miss out on the range creep, but, you know, a lot of creeps just across the map, just all over the place here at this top lane. Eventually they do meet, though, which is nice. They finally meet up.
Dire's middle tower is under
just trying to give Palos some room to safely farm away from Mars, away from that spear damage output you do have on Jabs early on. So yeah, just kind of trying to play that slower game. Again, this does favor Fnatic overall, because even if Palos is farming, it's not very efficient farm. You're lagging by a pretty huge margin here on the PL. You can kind of jump through the camps relatively fast, but a Phantom Rush, as long as some vision is given out. So there is catch-up potential there for Palos, but you do have to worry about those early spikes. If this Mars does hit that fast timing with, say, a Blinker Yule, it's going to be really easy for Jabs to set up on some of those more mobile heroes like the Ember, like the PL, and again, a lot of that momentum for Fnatic is on the back of Jabs, and with this kind of start, he's going to have it.
Dark Ascension pop, Genuel, he's going to be the target as Genuel. He'll actually go after the courier of Enryu, but he's trapped up, not really too much to go to, so he'll run toward the tier 1, but Enryu We'll pick up first blood here for the side of OB.Neon. Very, very nice start there as Raven, he was not around to try and help out. In the meantime, though, top lane, they'll make a chase in onto Palace, and that's a much bigger target. Armel, he'll take that one as a bang. He's going to try and make the TP out. Sonic Wave, it's not going to be quite enough. 50 HP is what a bang survives on. But they will be able to now secure that top tier 1 tower.
Yeah, and that's the exact movement they need to have here on Fnatic. Just shut down Palos, ensure the PL's not going to hit its farming spikes, play off the back of jabs, clear out some space for your team to form. Raven heads to mid while pushing in that top lane, and he can now easily swing into the triangle, take some of the top jungle camps as well for himself, start building up on the Terrorblade. OB.Neon has still not managed to pressure Raven at all, and that's a worrying sign. I think now pressure kind of shifts onto Mamangdaya and to Enryu to kind of play fast. These are your two heroes that can come online quick. You're going to need that blink up on Enryu ASAP to get the gap close and get the silence off, get the control, and start hunting that backline. Take care of the IO, prevent the Terrorblade from using the skull from the middle of engagement if you can scout him out and run from there. I do have to give props here to Fnatic. They've got pretty good defensive wards, like that ward on the bot jungle spot just to watch those rotations onto mid has been helping them kind of prevent Narman's rotations from really being too successful. He has managed to go out and pressure, but without the kills coming out from Mirana, it's a bit flat.
Mamangdaya, he's out of mana. Looks like Arno wants to go all the way, but now the Inkstwall's going to be there. Still, Mamangdaya, he'll chase down Genuel. They'll get one kill. In fact, Armel now, he may have gone too far, but here comes Jabs from the side. He's got the Ember down. Armel somehow still alive. In fact, it's DJ keeping him up on the IO as Jabs. He'll keep going for a bit more, and he's found out a bang here on the Grimstroke. That'll be a second. I mean, it looked kind of bad as Genuel does end up dropping, but eventually Jabs and DJ get there to save the day.
And that's a way bigger set of kills coming out. Slowing down that Ember timing we talked about is huge, and it opens up the push for mid. So Neon, they don't really have the best team fight to stop that. They've got decent control, but they don't have area denial. With Raven around with the Metamorphosis as well, this tower is just going to melt. That's going to open up the map for Fnatic, slow down Palos' farm. Your PL, who you're relying on, is not going to have much room to actually play catch-up here.
Armel may get caught here by Enryu, but no, blink away. Dark Ascension, it'll be popped. Armel still on the run, but Enryu will chase him down. He doesn't have Crippling Fear, though. It's a bit of a slow process, because eventually Armel will just TP out, and they can't stop him.
Yeah, it's a bit of a missed kill. Would have been really nice for Enryu to pick that up, but they didn't have the follow-up stun. Albin was a bit too far for the Inkswell. They didn't have a way to stop that TP, and Fnatic are dodging a lot of those fights well, especially Armel. We saw that pressure on mid lane earlier on, and with the rotations from Norman, he has not really been pinned down. So your clock is making a lot of room by forcing these rotations out. That's space for Raven to just play top, to just keep farming up. And Neon, again, it's not so bad on the board. 3-2, 2k lead for Fnatic isn't too big. You have to start to wonder if maybe this Terrorblade's getting a bit too fat, fat too fast, and maybe Jabs hitting Cycling Spikes too quick as well.
Yeah, Jabs, he's going to go into Palos, but Mamangdaya, he'll jump DJ in the backside, so Jabs now needs a way out. He'll go right for the TP as DJ. He tried to relocate. He won't quite make it, but they do at least get Jabs, or rather, get Jabs out of there on the Mars. Palos, he'll be happy with the kill he does get, and obviously the survival for himself. The 3-3 now, 2k net worth lead still standing for Fnatic. OB.Neon,
of illusion.
and I suppose as long as Palos is farming, they'll be happy.
You are buying space out for Palos as well. The diffusal timing's kind of lining up, so that's when your PL does a little bit of damage, but you're going to need stats on top. Probably going to need the Mancer SMY before you found bot though.
What indeed, who have they got? It's gonna be the Night Stalker. Enryu, he's gone. Another great setup there from Jabs, and Armel will just clean up. Suppose now they just go after the bottom tier one. I mean, why the hell not? It's just open for them.
And it doesn't take too long for them to get the damage out. With the damage Jabs has, with the overcharge amping it up, they can rip through those objectives quick. Neon again, through team fight, but not the Night Stalker's too.
Oh, big arena out. He's got 3 targets and a bang. He's immediately gone. Mamangdaya, Narman, they're sticking around. Narman, though, he's way too low to keep fighting. In fact, Armel, he knew he was around somewhere, but the scream, it wasn't enough. Instead, though, they've got Mamangdaya locked down. No mana available. In fact, never mind. He'll get the stick charges off, and he'll barely get himself out. definitely dangerous times here for the Embers. Mamang Dai, he's been hunted non-stop.
That's a great jump in from Jabs in getting the control off for the team, isolating the side of Neon. For Neon, it just feels so difficult to fight without Enryu, and Enryu can't really gap close without the blink. He's trying to go for the Echo Saber first, not quite done. I think for Neon, they can't actually force a lot of these bigger fights. They can play around with the kickoff potential of Mamang Daya, even then his damage level is a bit low, though.
Maybe a big kill if they can get it, but again, he just blinks away in time, and he's going to be just fine. OB.Neon yet to really be able to lock this swap down, as now they'll go for a smoke up. But where are they headed? Up towards the top lane they go, it seems. I mean, Armel and Genuel, they are around the area. They're going to run right into that Abaddon, though, and that's not really the target you want to try and go after, as he can just kind of walk away. Ingstorm will be there. It will land, but he's got the borrowed time up now. In fact, he's got more help coming in. Mamang Dai, he may have gone too far. He has one remnant available. He does need it to escape. And he will use it, but the chase does continue as now Armel does find him. Arrow, it's going to land on Jabs. A nice arrow, in fact, is now Enryu. He does move in. Ingswell, it's not going to be able to land in time. Instead, they'll go after Januel once again, but the Embodic Shield will protect us down the backside. They've got a bang down. They are still trying after that Abaddon, and they do get him, but Enryu, no, he'll barely survive. On 40 HP, the Night Stalker does get away. Raven couldn't quite finish off the job, but instead now they've got Palos in their hand. Palos, he'll keep fighting. Another nice arrow there from Jabs. Rather Narman to set up.
Radiant's middle tower
They do
is
end up
under
taking
attack.
down Jabs. Palos, he will be able to get himself out, but Armel, he's still chasing him down. And does have the Sonic Wave if he needs it. In the end, we'll give up on it and just leaves Palos to be. Yeah, 6-5 now, OB.Neon, showing signs of life in these team fights. Like I say though, yeah, Narman's still being chased down, but it's only the support duo of Fnatic. And Mamang Dai, who'll force them back.
Yeah, they're starting to find a grip here. I love that Palos comes in really early with just the defusal. You notice that, a couple of those spells were already blowing before he entered the fight. There wasn't enough burst to handle him. He kind of cut off the quap from finding the angle as well. So you could just jump in, try to rip a few heroes apart, and back off. That fight was a net worth win for OB.Neon, but not enough to really catapult them forward. I think that's something they're going to have to work on. They're still behind by 3k here. Raven is still pretty much uncontested. He's going to have his Manta styles doing into the Scotty. So even if he can't, easily scout out for the real PL, they're going to be able to at least get the damage off once they do manage to isolate. So certain spikes are lining up for Neon. They just have to be a bit patient. They've got the Echo Saber running as well, and Enryu working onto that blink. Once you do have that blink, it becomes a lot easier for Neon to just jump in, follow through with Mamang Dai's initiation, or have him follow up from the blink silence, and isolate certain backline heroes from there. Like that Io probably has to go really early on, because the overcharge, the tether healing is a bit too much to handle with. On top of that, with the Abaddon saves, it's a lot of sustain for Fnatic.
Oh, that it is. We get the go when ready. Mamang Dai wasn't even connected. There we go. He's back now. Armel, he was waiting. OB.Neon to it. Fnatic, they were hunting down Palos up that top lane, but he does TP out at the right moment. The scan was there to give him the information that was required to get out. They are still going to get started on that top T2 tower though, and it goes back to that Io Mars combo. Just with the overpower, you could really get some damage done. As OB.Neon, they at least bring Narman up to try and defend this. That'll be about it though. Again, they are on the hunt here. Fnatic. That dire jungle. OB.Neon, they've relocated toward that Radiant jungle anyway, understanding that Fnatic is probably going to be in the dire side somewhere. However, mid lane, they might get a bit of a group up as Armel. He'll get chained up, but again, Januel, he'll be around to make sure the plot is safe, as they might want to turn now. Jabs, he's moving in. Mamang Dai is still posturing rather aggressively, but no targets have really been found yet. Just chipping away slowly, but nobody being locked down. There was a double damage going on Mamang Dai, so I'm sure he would have loved the fight to continue, but in the end, they're going to have to let this one go.
They just can't deal with that dispel on the Abaddon. Like, the moment you get your initial stun off, they can't follow through the hour. They can't have the follow-up because the Aphotic Shield is around from Januel. He's had great positions throughout this game. There is some good vision from Neon. I mean, they have that ward watching their own jungle, but Fnatic has a lot of wards in that top jungle as well, so they can kind of figure out where the swings are coming in from. They get a good scan on the smoke rotation from Neon, so I don't think they can really find anything big in this movement out.
They're gonna try, but it's very hard to approach that Radiant Triangle. Even with the smoke up, it's just how do you get on top of that high ground? They won't even bother trying. Mamang Dai back into the mid lane now as a counter smoke is there. Fnatic, they seem to have read the movement as they are moving into that mid lane. Mamang Dai will be targeted. Armel, he's a bit early to the party, but he'll try to set up with the Yule Scepter, but it's not going to be enough. Quick slide of fist there from Mamang Dai, and that'll be Arena Spear down for Jabs. I think you would have rather just started with the Arena Spear instead of the Yule Scepter, but I suppose either way it was going to be pretty hard to land.
Yeah, it's a tough target to jump that lane. That's where some of that lack of control from Fnatic does kind of show. They don't have the best way of locking them down. You don't have an Orchid on Armel as well for some instant silences. So you really are fully reliant on Jabs to line up that combination. And against a target like Ember, it's a bit tough. That smoke was also potentially under a ward. There were a couple of obs here from Neon watching mid. They might have been preemptively scouted out and just left the most slippery bait in the middle to buy space for the side lane farming, and that's the stall game they're building up for. Apollos is still playing bot. His Manta style is almost done, so he's going to be a lot more protected on that PL to kind of deal with the side of Fnatic, who still only have that spear stun from Jabs to take control. I think he will have a PL problem coming up. He's not too far behind Raven as well, despite that strong start from Raven. 9.8k versus 8.7, maybe a 1.1k difference. Not too bad for the PL. It's not a significant item advantage for Raven, so OB.Neon is still definitely in the running. They're just maybe not finding the biggest pickoffs.
Nice spear out from Jabs. Lock him down for a bit, but it is nighttime, so Enryu, he does run fast. And now Fnatic, they need their own way out. With the old-fashioned way and walk. Meantime, though, mid-river, Narman gonna break the smoke of Fnatic, but they won't be able to jump in and try to chase down the Mirana. Instead, Palos now gonna run up to Armel very aggressively and just get started. They pop the Moonlight Shadow, they're just trying to kite in and out. Awesome spell usage, perhaps, from Fnatic. But nothing's come of it yet. As OB.Neon, they are looking for a way into this fight. Once again, it's into that Radiant Triangle, but it's very hard to approach that, especially when Januel is around to break the smoke. Mamang Dai, who have to back off for a little bit now, as again, I think they are going to struggle just trying to get there. You never really want to be fighting into the high ground on the low ground if you are OB.Neon. They won't bother. Once again, it's just back to farming and buying more space and time for Palos.
Just get that up and running. I think you also really need to hit that blink timing and Enryu. Night Stalker is a bit close, so this should simplify the process of initiation and kind of jumping up to the high ground. You don't necessarily have to put Mamang Dai in a dangerous way. You could just jump in with a crippling fear, try and find that angle, and that should give Neon some more opportunities to go for. Still, Fnatic are pretty happy with the state of the game. They're farming the map well. Raven's still in the lead, but not significantly so. There might be some pressure to start playing around with Blink. You do have on Jabs. He's been really effective with that. And he is slowly building up onto his BKB as well, which is flying out. So you've got a spell immune Mars up front. That should be another spike to go smoke up. Instead, they'll go for Roshan. They know that if the fight's forced here, they've got the area control to make this fight better for Fnatic.
Yeah, force the rotation back from OB.Neon, try to force them to defend this as Meta is going to be popped. Raven, he's committed. All the way they go. Palos, he does just pick himself up a Manta style, so they might be willing to try and force this fight. Dark potential will be there for that vision as Mamang Dai, he'll jump in. Enryu, Xwell is there. He's going to only connect on one of those jabs. He gets the big straight off the bat. That'll be a grip stroke gone. Fnatic still just slowly chipping away, but here comes Palos. Right onto Raven they go. The meta's still going though. You've got to be very careful here as OB.Neon. Just hiding in and out, waiting for that right moment to fully commit. Raven, he only has about 10 seconds left of the meta. So OB.Neon, they may have dragged this out long enough to either go back to the Roshan themselves or just leave it.
Yeah, they managed to force out that big use on the Metamorphosis. They are still trying to chase though. A bit low, but Armel, is he gonna commit?
Yeah, he's thinking about it. And the end, thinks better of it. The 7-5, still 21 minutes in now. Very, very slow game between these two. There's plenty of attempts at each other's lives, but no real full commitment that we've seen. Speaking of which, John, we were talking about this earlier before the game did get started. Naaman does not have the new persona on that Mirana. How do you feel about that?
I'm a bit disappointed. To be fair, he's got some hanging cosmetics. You know, you can't use that with persona, so I can see why maybe Narman, the Mirana player, would stick with his
that
base
mount.
model. Oh yes, gold stuff as well. So, you know, he's kind of set up. I can see why he'd take away from that. What I would love to see from Marvin is actual stuff for his arrows. We're having a hard time here just landing the chain arrow combo. Down to John getting the dispels off. Fnatic, they do smoke up here. And they don't have vision in top jungle anymore, but they know they're hanging here.
Oh, Naaman, he does juke out the spear. I say juke, but I feel like Jam's just completely whiffed that one. Zaro does connect onto the Abaddon. Naaman, he won't go any further. He is just to support Mirana. Very least they do get started on the top tier 2 tower now. Mel, getting to work. Naturally, you do want to go for the outpost on the dire end so you can work towards that Roshan pit, so they'll get started slowly but surely. You've got Enrico around with Dark Ascension up in about 3 seconds though. So it could be dangerous times. A spear, again going to be juiced out by Naaman. Mel though, he's going to pounce in and try to go for the kill. He's going to find Enryu there though, under that crippling fear. He can't do too much, but he'll just try to buy himself some time. Genuel's going to be there anyway to make sure he does remain safe. They do force throw time out, and now will come in. Spirit's there, not in the arena, but they've still caught him out of Mamandaya. He's going to drop straight off the bat. Palos, he's going to try and fight, but Raven's getting right to work, and Palos is gone. I mean, they got Armel in the end, and they've got DJ now. But it might be a complete cleanup here for Fnatic. Because Naaman should eventually drop. Enryu somehow does not get speared. So I suppose he is in there, so maybe the spear just went underneath the model. But they are back onto that tier 2 top tower.
It's a massive win for Fnatic. They managed to hold that fight really well. Armel just patient with his positioning, mentioned beta heroes in, beta rotations out. And you do lose your quap, but you find the PL, you find the Ember. It's a big win for Fnatic as Raven's just building up now. He's got the 2k lead over the PL. He's got Scotty up. He's going for the butterfly next, something that the PL does not enjoy building up against. Is that evasion's going to make him miss a lot of his output. His DPS is just going to be cut by a big percent. So Raven's going to be a tough nut to crack for OB.Neon. I think for Neon's end. We're just seeing issues with him kind of working these team fights. Like they tried to jump over. He has heals to save and break from the Inkswell combo. They tried to jump Johnny Well, he just immediately pops a bar of time and tries to save us. So here, you know, stall out the fight, give an angle for Jabs to come in. And Neon's team fights are just not very clear cut. Their strength is still in the single target pickoff. We just haven't seen that be emphasized by Neon. They just haven't been able to catch anyone off guard, go for the simple kills, and try to snowball from these small pickoffs. Fnatic are just constantly playing as a group here.
He's gonna be scouted out here by Mamandaya. Oh, he's playing with fire. No, he goes to the backside instead. Jabs, he's found a bang. That's a quick Grimstroke kill for the Mars. I suppose now just take the outpost, and again, Roshan is available. Just never a better time to go while this Grimstroke's gone. Raven from the team. You don't really have meta, but I don't think you need it.
No, they've got the damage. They've got the damage and sustain coming through from DJ and Johnny Well to help Raven out. And the side of OB.Neon, they don't have wards around a Rosh pit anymore. They can't really angle themselves in. They are trying to shove mid. They know something's up, but Rosh is dropping fast.
I mean, Dark Ascension's been popped, but I don't know if they're going to make it in time to really get... The Aegis is already available now. But do you want to force the fight? Spear is out. Naaman, he does not get caught. In fact, they found Armel. He'll use himself up. The crippling fear is still going. He can't blink out. They've got a great kill on that quap. And they'll make the chase in onto Genuel now. In fact, Soulbind is to be there the backside as well. Genuel, or rather Mamandaya, he's found DJ on that IO. They'll find a second. They're not too bad here for OB.Neon. They get something for their trouble. But John, they have lost the Aegis to Ravens. Perhaps they can get a third target here as Genuel. He does eventually get caught out by Enryu. That'll be a third target now for OB.Neon.
Yep, they make the most out of a bad situation. They punish the supports and their mid laner. I think you're still fairly happy on Fnatic saving Raven, still having the Aegis on hand for the next fight. That should provide enough time for Raven as well to finish that butterfly up. So he's going to be extremely protected. I think you're fine with that kind of sacrifice. It's not enough to swing the net worth back towards Neon as well. We still have 5k lead here for Fnatic. But that does allow them to sort of rush these items that helps them out. UKB for Mamandai is coming up next. Enryu's working onto his as well, only lacking the Ogre Axe. So once you do hit that spike, in fact, he's just going to disassemble the Echo Saber anyway. That should, again, give them more tools to jump in, get their own control off. That will cancel out the arena at the very least. So you don't need to worry about Jabs having the control. And without that control from Mars, it's hard for them to pin down OB.Neon as well on Fnatic's end.
Raven being very aggressive down a bot lane for that tier 1 bot tower. Does force the rotation up from OB.Neon though, and that's pretty much all that matters. Now a smoke up, Fnatic seem to know that the dire triangle is currently occupied, so they'll make the long wrap around. They can find a nice opening for themselves with this Aegis up. I mean, Raven's about 1k away from having a butterfly, but they're going to go anyway. Onto Palos, they'll see him, but they don't land the spear in time. Palos, he's fine for now, but Arena, they'll trap him in. He's forced the man fight, but he's very low on mana. Palos, how much time can you buy? Double up in one. He's going to be alright. In fact, OB.Neon now, they might counter-initiate and try to fight back, but no, not into the high ground.
Shadows take us.
They'll wait for a better time. They'll wait out the meta. Raven has about half the duration. They just don't want to fight into that big metamorphosis. He's not stopping. He'll keep moving on to the tier 2 now. Arrow, it's going to be blocked off by an illusion. VN, I suppose, once he sees the whole side of OB.Neon, Moonlight shattered off. That'll be enough for Fnatic. They are out of it.
They do manage to dodge out after the arena. I don't think Fnatic's really too keen to force a fight fully as well, so they're happy enough to back off. They can just wait for the next arena to come out. Again, there's a lack of control for Fnatic if they don't get that initiation onto Palos. At the same time, Neon serves to good use of the Dark Ascension, although they'll jump in.
Mel, great target again here by Enryu, and the Crippling King is long enough to make sure he cannot pick away, but eventually with the Sonic Wave out, he will buy himself the space, or has he? They found Raven now. Problem is, Genuel's right behind him, just in case. So it does seem like OB.Neon, again, going to be unable to really initiate and secure themselves a target.
I'll always remember how foolish you were.
Just going to have to wait for another time now. The Dark Ascension, it's about to wear off.
Radiant structures.
Yeah, and that's a big spell to commit. Now you've got opening where Arena's available and Dark Ascension's not. Fnatic have a big team fight advantage.
Well, they're going to jump in, but BKB's around Jabs. He's got his owners. Well, Mel, he is still being died, but he is fine. In fact, they're going after Narman. No, never mind. They want Mamandai. They want the big Ember kill, but they'll go back in after the Mirana now. Nobody dying on either side yet. The chase does continue. Armel will jump right into Palos. He doesn't really want to be around this PL at the moment, but he has another blink up. Soulbind will be there though, locking him down. Meanwhile, Raven, he's just trying to get close enough to hit somebody, but nobody's around us now. Enryu with the crippling spear. He does find Jabs, and Jabs does finally go down to the Mars. It's Genuel now. He's been targeted. They do at least find a bang, and DJ in the backside does get taken out by Palos. It's Raven. He's right in the middle of all this. What can he get done with this Aegis up? He's got no mana for another 5 seconds. He'll thunder though and buy a bit more time with that Aegis up. Enryu just about to drop, but not close enough yet, as now the mana is available. But Armel, he's rejoined the team fight. The respawn is there. Raven, does he want to fight? No, he doesn't. That'll be it. Let OB.Neon go.
That's a topsy-turvy fight for Neon. It does kind of work out. They take away the Aegis, so there's no protection left on Raven, but he only had about 40 seconds until there. We are getting calls for lag. That might be down to the Typhoon. I'm betting it's got a part to do with the network right now. Palos saying, okay, they're blaming each other. Palos saying it's his PL, Abeng saying it's his TP. So everyone's going to go for a reset, so we'll see if that sorts it out. Hopefully it does. And hopefully, again, if you are near an area with a lot of rain, just stay safe. It's pretty bad out there. So, again, not much we can do if that's the case, but hopefully it just improves, Mike.
Yeah, that's... Going back to a point I was making last night, Jonathan. Couldn't notice, but you know, Narman's been struck. Go on, John. Translate the stuff first before I go on.
General's still asking Enryu if he took a bath, and Palos is saying he hasn't yet. And Enryu's like, how many weeks have you not, Jonuel? He shoots back. How many weeks have they not showered? That's, well, at some point they might get showered from the rain, so it's that, maybe.
Very good, very good. Free shower never hurt. going back to my point,
That
Jonathan,
was
Narman's obviously struggling with the battle pass. You did buy Japoya battle pass. Should I message Narman, let him know you might be able to buy him one too?
No,
big
no,
shot?
Norman's a big boy. Norman's a big boy. I know he's had his
Oh my
birthday,
goodness.
but nah, it's too late. It's too late. No, no, he's gonna have to work for it for himself. You know what? Like, on the topic of people hitting us up, for some reason, a bit off topic, Tim's actually messaged me and asked me, who do I cast with? I don't know how Tim's doesn't know. And he, so remember yesterday? Remember we closed out and you called out his shop? He tagged me. I was like, but
Yeah,
that's
he
Mike.
did.
So
I
told him,
saw.
That's Mike.
Oh no.
I guess do we look alike? You know, I don't think I look as sharp as you, Mike. You know, you've got the beard, you've got the clean cut there.
Well, what
No,
does it matter, John, if Tim's doesn't remember who I am? Well, what does it all matter? Well, what does any of it mean anymore? He follows me too. That's the worst part. He follows me on Twitter. He doesn't even know who I am. He just, once upon a time, he followed me once and he was like, yeah, that guy's all right. And then just forgot completely afterwards. So he thought you were the one shouting him out.
I think he knew I was the other guy. He just didn't know who you were. I don't know if that's better or worse, Mike, but
It's
you know,
pretty bad.
you gotta, you gotta ping him. You gotta let him know.
Run, little mouse.
That's on you. That's your fault.
That's
Because
my fault.
I always address you by your name, but you only recently started doing that. Before that happened, John, everyone just kept asking what MLP meant. Now at least they know the first that means Mike.
Yeah, I think. Well, should we clarify what the LP is, Mike, or let the viewers decide for
Dyer's
themselves?
bottom
let
tower
them
Leave it
is under
suspense, though.
attack.
Leave it for fun. Yeah.
Oh, God bless them. Still, you know, what could use a boost is Neon right now, right? Like, they're still a bit behind, net worth 6k behind. They've managed to keep it even, so they're keeping up at the same rate Fnatic's
Radiant
farming, but they're
are
not
scanning.
managing to gap close that advantage right now. And Fnatic, they're gonna go for a big smoke play here, Palos.
Gonna catch out, but no, Doppelganger's gonna be there in time. Palos, he is perfectly fine for now, but the dive is in. Meta is there with the Ice Guardy out. Palos, he's still okay, just chasing down jabs now, trying to reinitiate. We want quite low for OB.Neon, but nobody really dropped yet.
Dyer's middle
Again,
tower
waiting up
is
that
under
meta to reinitiate. Palos will move in with the Ink Swap, but a nice man to dodge out from Raven. The Ink Swap will not connect. Meanwhile, on the backside, Mamang Dyer still trying to find himself a target, but he's gone too far. BKB or not, without the remnants, he can't get through the damage off Raven. So that tier 2 mid tower, it's looking as good as gone. As there's no really stopping this PB.
He is way too big. Palos does not have the damage to return the sustain coming through from Fnatic. It's just too much.
Yeah, that they will. Onto Raven they go once the meta does wear off, but he does have that butterfly up now, so he's a bit tankier of a target. He'll go after Genuel. It does get himself one kill. Can he find jabs? He's gonna try, but the BKB does wear off. In the meantime, Armel's fighting somebody off. But Enryu, he'll keep going on that pass. In fact, never mind, they'll try DJ this time. They'll get the IO down, and eventually jabs will be the third to drop. Is the mid lane, Narman. He was being chased by Armel the whole team fight.
Yeah, that's a big distraction play from Neon. We saw that little bit of a whiffed Sonic Wave. That kind of is a lot of AoE damage and clearing out some PL. And side Fnatic, you know, again, without Arena, without the spear landing, it is hard for him to pin down a target. So that does give a lot of room for Palos to run in. They are still having issues with that butterfly, but I think they're going to be itemizing for a Bloodthorn on Palos, working onto the Orchid now to take care of it, to have some True Strike on hand. And once you do manage to get that for Palos, it's just an issue of timing. Right? So you have to wait for the Manta to be used first, jump in, then use your Bloodthorn to kind of get the hits. That's one way to be able to keep up. And that's going to be another spike for Neon if they can stall out for that timing. So it's still a very even game though, Mike. But the kill advantage is coming out from Neon. And they are taking these engagements really well. They've been scattering these fights, so every time Arena's up, they just kind of bail out, look for an angle back in, and just isolate these heroes once certain spells wear off. Once Metamorphosis is down, once Arena's gone. It's very simple for Neon to start running down and focusing on single targets to kind of make these engagements better for Neon's end. So I think they are playing the right way. I do find it a bit difficult for Mom and Guy right now. Like, we saw him just die in that mid-fight. He needs a little bit more. He's got the BKB up and running, down to 7 seconds. He's going for the Axe. That should be a damage spike and mobility spike for Mom and Gaia.
He blinked right into Palos, into the arrow. No, he got the Yules off in time. Oh, Narman. Wait, did Narman Yules after the arrow?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
You hurt the ones you
Oh,
love.
boy. It was lag, John. That's what we're going to say. It was a lag issue.
Yeah, maybe. It's a unfortunate lag issue, but it is what it is.
Leave him alone, Jonathan. You won't buy him a battle pass. You forgot about his birthday, and now you won't let him just make the lag excuse.
Oh, fine. Well, we'll let him have it, although it's John Newell who disconnected, you know, but we'll let him have it still. I think Armold can be fine up in the air there. But yeah, it's a awkward situation. And again, the servers are acting up, Mike. You gotta love Southeast Asia, don't you? Like, you don't get to experience typhoons. Good for you, but you've got killer stuff in your backyard, so I don't know if the trade-off is worth it in Australia.
It probably isn't, John. Make matters worse. I mean, you cast this region for 3-4 years now, and Kim doesn't even know who you are.
What can you do, Mike? You know, it's the name. You know, it
you laughed, didn't you?
MLP.
When he told you, he was so happy. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I wasn't happy, but I had a good giggle about it.
Yes,
like,
you were. I know you. You would have loved it.
I was giggling. I was very confused when he tagged me. I'm like, why? You can hear me, Tims. That's not me. You can tell Mike. You know, he's got you. I think. Maybe.
Maybe. It reminds me of the time we started casting first off, and they thought you were me and I was you the whole time.
Oh, that's fun. Can you imagine being Mike LaPhoenix? I can't imagine it. I'm happy being John.
It's on easy left, let me tell you. Top lane, there's some action breaking in. Chances of the Mel, he's still in trouble, but here comes Jabs with the ring around in the backside though. Mama Dyer, he's dropped so down low. Raven, the damage output, it's proving to be a little bit too much. There's Palos though, he's moving in now. Back in on Terrorblade, but Armel, he'll blink forward, trying to get that people down. Kiting in and out is OB.Neon. Even still half the duration of the meta left. He's being chipped away at, but very hard when you can't really lock him down. So they move in again, they're trying their absolute best. They're chasing down Narman, in fact, on the other side. And they've finally got that Mirana down. As Palos, he's still moving away. Raven, he's only got a little bit of time left on that meta, but he's found Palos now. But Palos, he'll move around and go back in. Speed it completely with jabs, but it will not matter. They've got Peel down. And that'll be enough for the side of Fnatic. I think now, I mean, you could look towards the Roshan pit, but that's not even up yet. But you could try to go high ground.
They don't have Metamorphosis anymore on Raven, but again, with Overcharge up, it's not going to take long for the Terrorblade to rip through. Neon, no buyback in Palos, so they're going to have to wait the full minute for their damage output to come in. They're having issues going through that regen. Like, Raven has to say tank up, so you can just actually stand and fight for as long as he wants with the Sunflower on top as well, and they just rip racks. Neon opts to Limited. They know there's no Metamorphosis. They're supposed for a little bit longer, but Arena will be back up when Palos is back up as well. The guy just doesn't have enough to stop this by himself.
Yep, absolutely not. Rax is down. Alex, 30 seconds on the respawn board. Not a great feeling for him as he has to just sit on the sidelines and watch. Roshan, 8 seconds away, so perfect timing here for Fnatic.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Assuming they stick around for a couple seconds in that pit to just wait it out. No, they missed out.
No.
Oh, well. Nobody wanted to wait the extra sec. So Roshan, it does spawn up. Just right after they leave. We'll back in.
They should, you know, they could just toss in a terrible illusion. The scan was preempted as well from Neon, so they're not going to be able to tell when the rush action does happen. They could try to sneak it, but I don't think they have enough damage to take that fast. And again, Neon can Fnatic can easily take that fight for the
Double lands there, Palos trying to rush towards Armel, but in the backside jabs, he's got Narman on the Mirana. Palos, he's still trying. After that quad, they've almost got Narbel. He's going to go down and back down. Genuel, he'll be the second, charging him for more. They found Raven. That's the big thing. You want Palos, but he'll pop better. He'll try to fight. Jabs, he's hit. Palos got locked down. Oh, he got locked down. He couldn't fight back. He's down to 90. And Roshan's still up. It's still up, John. Get for you. Oh, he's been spotted down. But we'll be able to fly over the pit. They found a bang. Spear is off the mark from Jams, but you might find a bang. And then Reflection is there, and they've got plenty of damage. Roshan it is. This time around, they spotted it.
The ones you love.
They've still got Metamorphosis for a little bit longer, not too long. They will have the Io and the Abaddon up though, so they'll have the sustain, they'll have the overcharge to buff upgrade here. Neon without Palace, they just lack damage. I don't know if they can really test if they bought back on Bang. They can try to stall. They're gonna have to stall for 40 seconds if they actually want to fight inside there.
Can't go down very fast here. It's very hard to fight without Palos on. No Dark Ascension either. And Paro does fly in onto a metal, but at the end he still gets the Aegis. And now you're towards that final lane of barracks here if you are Fnatic. They will head down through the triangle, down to the bot lane as Enryu quick away.
That's good.
This could be the final defense out from OB.Neon. If they lose the team fight, won't have buyback on Palos. That's going to be very problematic. He's still not her gold away, but they're going to have to try. Moonlight Shadow will be up. Fnatic, they're not really interested in fighting right now anyway, teams. They do have 45 till the back up on Raven, so you may as well just wait that one out.
Can just wait patiently here on the side of Fnatic. They do finish up this Verge on Raven as well, so he's got even more damage output, and he gets a Pentakill sword. He's got a little bit more damage flying on top of that neutral. They need a lot to get going here. The Bloodborne's still not on Palace. He still can't handle Raven. It can kill everyone else off, but if the Terrorblade is alive, he's actually really hard to burst down. The heroes you have on Sin. You can have the Ag up Mamang Daya. The Ember can zip in and a lot more. The issue is he just doesn't feel like he has enough damage. The Ember just gets really isolated. BKB's down to 6 seconds. Fnatic, despite only really having Uruna's Spear, managed to burn through Mamudaya every single time in the team fight. So I think no one has it up just yet. Fnatic, they are smoked up here.
But they are. Palos, he's the target you'd love to catch first. He's going to be fine to walk away. Leave the loop to deal with. They are just creep skipping right now. He does TP out, he does get left behind in the Grimstroke. He can find him. They assume he's just gone anyway, but now he just was there the whole time. It just won't matter though. The creep wave does survive through the fate. Palos does end up buying out the Bloodthorn outright. Just that is again going to mean he does not have buyback gold.
Yeah, it's a risky prospect. They need that item. They need to go all in to stop Raven. He does not have the Aegis, remember. If you actually kill him off, that could give Neon a big if they give the Aegis over to Armel. So maybe that overconfidence cost him a life on Raven stall and a bit more for Neon to play with. That opportunity. They're still stuck between a rock and a hard place still. High ground, having to hold the last set of racks. Got the refresh on Jax, so he can just jump in, get another down.
And a pop thing to go all the way at Tier 3 tower. So it sure doesn't last very long. It will pop cliff, and it's only going to delay the kick with Breaker. He gets back to work. Now Jabs, he's in it. He's got a 2-man spear out. To the money save from Marvel. Fight now, 4v5 as Mundunk is dropping so far, but now Palos got caught out for a second. They think the jump is the threat, but now being around Jams, he's caught a couple, and he'll be out of there, but he gets so wrong, and Palos is pushing the world right now on his zone, but he can't get it done. He's still trying on the Genuel, but he's been caught. No buyback equals GG. He's seen enough, but that is they do pull off the first game victory.
Really well with maybe some control issues early on, but I think the key thing for Fnatic was that they managed to that pick-off game that OB.Neon was looking for. They never found the kills on mid earlier on Armel with the rotations of Narman. They couldn't really pin down the Quap, and they kind of ignored Raven for a long time. They allowed the Terrorblade to build up really quick, to hit those big spikes. We saw the Manta and Scotty. Really good time. And once the sustain game was up, Mike, once the IO just tethered up, once the Abaddon just gets the right position, all the sustain on Raven, he just wouldn't die in these fights, and it was just a big issue. That's why you picked the PL to counteract the TB, but didn't really feel that way in this game, Mike.
Not. Of course, with that, Jonathan, we are going to have to head off for a short break, and that'll allow me time to go cry into my pillow for a bit with all the recent news that you've brought me over the game one. Quickly go have myself a bit of a sook, and we are going to be back with our lovely panel, of course, to discuss what happened in this game number one. We'll see you all again after that short break.
5 seconds remaining.
Fnatic's turn to
Dire
ban.
team ban.
Fnatic's turn to ban.
Dire team ban.
Fnatic's turn to pick.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Dire team pick.
Fnatic's turn to pick.
Mars!
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Fnatic's turn to ban.
Luna. Dire team ban.
Fnatic's turn to ban.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban.
Fnatic's turn to ban.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Dire team pick.
Fnatic's turn to pick.
Admiral Conker!
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Fnatic's turn to pick.
And then Fnatic need to like figure out what they want to do to deal with that. Either they like match that fight, which they seem to be going for with Death
Right,
Prophet because
yeah.
she's so nice and these strength hero
Dire
Siphon
team
really
pick.
good, or they have to like figure out a way to play around it. But they're not gonna dodge. They're gonna go in. They got some aggressive clockwork, aggressive Death Prophet. No, okay, Cap
Don't like that clock.
He's shaking his head.
I wish it was a Tusk, actually. I know
Really?
Tusk is a little bit more off meta. I would have preferred having
10
save
seconds
from my
remaining.
4 position play hero. And
5
then I also
seconds
think
remaining.
Interesting.
It's Tusk.
Also, Clockwork, Cogs is so you've got Cookie against Cogs, first of all. Also, Cogs can play against you sometimes on Mars, because you're creating a wall that it can spear off of them.
Usually, I think that's the opposite because you cogs in the middle of arena and you prevent him spearing to arena.
That is a way to help, but if you're not in an arena, right, and you just like for whatever, like you throw out a Cogs wall, all of a sudden just prevent like.
Guess what? I love Clock. I think it's great. I think it's a way to stop Snapfire from using her ult every fight.
Right.
I think it's a.
True.
I think it's a hero that DJ is comfortable. Wait, is DJ gonna be playing Ion or Clock? No. They'll play Genuine, right? Clock he loves making plays. It's like his thing. He's like,
So Io Luna is the lane,
of course.
right?
It's so good for him. Like this is the type of thing he thrives on. I think he's gonna have a great game. I think he's fine against all of the heroes so far in Neon. Like, yeah, sure they can cook you out, but like he is gonna be a disruptive Clockwork. They can get kills, I think, as well on the lane if this is Conquer safe lane.
One thing I like about Fnatic's setup here is that they can run Death Prophet as well. They see an opening for a good mid.
Right, they just chase the Conquer wherever it goes as well. And the matchup is really solid. Even better actually in the long lane.
Word. Anyway, I think Fnatic are just
Fnatic's
this should hopefully be a very bloody game.
Nice.
Okay, so this is their solution to the healing, I presume.
Yeah, Death Prophet and Io. Really good setup with Kunkka. Mars is pretty good as well. Long range Ice Blast fills up the whole arena. I was gonna say that if they could do safe lane Kunkka, then I think Lena would be pretty legit against this lineup. But the only fear would be Clockwork. But you're saying Mamandaya, he's gonna be cussed, so we're probably locked into
10
a
seconds
carry
remaining.
hero.
I am presuming. I don't know if Palos. I mean, I'm really surprised if Palos plays safe lane.
Turn to ban.
I'm just saying, Mamandaya does love this hero. You still have options though. Like there still is Quap in the pool, which is another hero that he favors. Decent against DP, good against IO.
The issue with AA is just that he's a very, very vulnerable 5 who dies, and we see Clockwork on Fnatic. You can talk it down for its
10
weaknesses,
seconds
but its
remaining.
strengths are definitely in picking off and disrupting supports that have no way to protect
5
themselves
seconds
against.
remaining.
And AA is a hero that cannot do that. And Fnatic, while they might put DP in the offlane, they also could pick another offlaner that works with the clock and get like 100 kills in this lane, because I don't think AA is that strong.
That's fair. I mean, Clock is considered usually a
Dire
counter.
team ban.
Yeah, so I would like something like a little bit more tankier on the lane. Maybe Ogre would have been nice, but I mean, you don't want to keep sending strength hero,
Fanatics, turn
big
to pick.
HP full heroes against Death Prophet, but still, like, you don't want your supports to get picked up constantly by Clock either.
I like it just because they had
Dire
a problem with
team
sustain
pick.
last game, and they
In the
needed a
spirit.
really good answer. So it at least says that like they thought about like what went wrong game 1, and they came up with a solution that isn't like, obvious.
That's a guaranteed DP offlane now with forcing the
10
Ember
seconds
mid.
remaining.
So Kunkka looks fine now, honestly. You can pick up a
5
carry here
seconds
that
remaining.
may mitigate operations.
Yeah, because outside of laning, like, I do think Neon's draft, as of right now, looks better in terms of when they scuffle, when they have a marginal and they use it blast on top of it. Like, I think that's really good for Neon. I'm just worried in the spaces outside of that when they're playing lanes or they're playing like movement around the map, trying to shove lanes, whatever. Like, I'm worried that Fnatic have really nice pick off with like Clockwork hooking to relocate, you know, Ember remnants in, blah blah. Like, I think they have a nice catch there.
Yeah, with the Razor here for Neon. Strengthen the
Razor, you can always get away from this current map.
True.
Sven's a hero that runs Ancient
Choose your
Apparition,
hero.
but I don't like any melee hero that gets kited.
That's that lane is
More
the
fun.
rough lane. Good against Clock though.
They have no hero to turn into that I feel good.
I don't know. It's okay. It's just lane is rough, especially for Arbang. I don't know where his impact comes in the first 10 minutes because like Morphling can't protect him really in the lane.
Yeah, when you run this Ancient Apparition, like one of the biggest things about its laning phase is you need a good combo partner with it. So like classically the melee heroes with the stun, Wraith Ben, like Like those work pretty well.
Yep.
But you couldn't do that here against, I think, Death Prophet, Clockwork. You kited too much. So as Sheep is saying, like because you don't have that right kind of combination, you had to go for this Morphling, a mobile hero, Ancient Apparition. At all.
Sums about it up. Like I said, I think Fnatic have really a great, amazing pick-off, and I like Neon's team fight a little bit more, so we'll just see how it pans out. We're going to see a lot of good fighting.
Okay, let's see.
I was always going to go Fnatic after game 1, so
right.
It didn't matter what the draft was.
Cap sticks with Fnatic. Sheeple believes in good fighting. Will we see an improvement in the execution?
That's not true.
Will we see an improvement in the execution this game? We're going to have to go to MLP and John to find out.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are game number 2 between OB.Neon and Fnatic. John, you saw the panel. They were talking about the draft. Seems like they're into Fnatic after game number 1. What are you thinking, sir? Fnatic, OB.Neon?
Stupid.
I'd say
brave.
Well, we saw Fnatic really
stupid.
utilize the IO last time right now. I think they've got pretty good conditions to play with here. Neon does have a greater team fight. They kind of had that sort of same playstyle last time. Not in as much team fight, but the need to really fight aggressively with Night Stalker, and they didn't manage to execute. So for Neon to make this draft work, they kind of need to improve on what they had in game 1. They need to play hit and run, play around ults as they come out, and start really ripping apart Fnatic early on in the mid game. Because they went all in on this arena combo. They've got the boat, they've got the kisses, they've got the ice blast. So they have to execute on top of that. And for Neon, again, if you looked at game 1, they didn't really manage to stagger their spell use properly. They didn't manage to find the pickoffs and just kind of play with the combos they had on hand. So they're going to really have to turn it around from game 1. And I think that would give Fnatic a bit of an edge because, well, they've gotten IO protecting their Luna. They can just flash farm Raven, kind of do the same thing in game 1 as well for Fnatic. Just enable Raven to get big and start running from there.
I mean, it seems like a very fast-paced lineup here for Fnatic, and I think you and I were kind of mentioning this before we did switch over to us, but it does feel like this game could be over very, very fast, considering you do have that DP, and you do have the Luna, and even the Ember. And by the way, for any viewers out there wondering why you're still looking at us, we are having a disconnection issue right now, so we are just currently waiting for a player to reconnect. Don't you worry, the game will get started at any time now. John, going back to the draft, though, it's Morphling. I think Cap kind of mentioned he doesn't really know why you go Morphling here. There's not really the greatest combinations in terms of who to morph into. I tend to agree with him. I don't really see any combos here for old Palos here on OB.Neon. Is there something we're missing, John?
I'd say a big one is Ember. We've seen a lot of Morphlings morph into Ember to kind of just use the slot and the chains really well. And that would give you a little bit more there to play with, but otherwise there's nothing that stands out. You know, you're not seeing, say, Spirit Breaker morph as we saw from TC, or the Wind Ranger morph as we used to see, or the Shaker morph. So none of those big busted combos. Nothing even like, say, the Dark Willow. So I don't think this is going to be an Ags game.
If I go in, I
There's
might die.
really just
If
not
I
much
go in, I
value.
might die.
And the main focus of the morph is just really growing big.
If
And
I
you
go
have really
in, I
good
might
burst
die.
damage to
If
play
I
with,
go
going
in, I
for
might
the great
die.
build, going for the right click build. You can maybe utilize Luna. If you have the shard, just toss the Lucent Beam every now and then and get some damage off that way. But it does feel like it's a very self-centered morph. You know, you're not looking for those big combinations. It's all about hitting an E-Blade spike and just running down from there.
Right. Completely different topic, as we are seeing CEO Palos. I'm not sure why Palos suddenly became the CEO, but apparently he's the CEO of OB.Neon now. I was wondering maybe you'd have some facts behind that, but apparently not. We have no idea why he's the CEO all of a sudden.
I think, well, let's say the recent roster changes were maybe from a suggestion of Palos. So that's why. And Ryu has lost control. Roy is not CEO anymore because, you know, he stayed in. Everyone else was gone. He quote unquote kicked, although it's not really a kick, but he was the CEO. Yeah. He's been overtaken because Palos is the one ordering everyone around now. So he's in charge, Mike.
Very, very scary stuff. Going into a completely different topic, Jonathan. For once in your life, you decided to take a photo before we started casting today. Why? I mean, it looked very cute, by the way, Jonathan. I'll give you that. You look very, very handsome in your photo. It's like a 5-year-old going to school for the first time. But go on, what is it? Why did you decide to take a photo and post it on Twitter today?
I just liked my outfit. I felt like, you know, the flannel, the plain shirt. It felt
John, it's
good.
a flannel. Flannel, Jonathan.
Flannel. I don't do English well, you know that. I felt good, you know. I was getting, you know, we were waiting for the game. I was like, all right. I want to post something in socials. Like, okay, let's try this.
Right.
Okay, you know, just boosting some self-esteem, like, you know, what little is left, trying to be boosted.
Oh, you talk about self-esteem, Jonathan. I had my heart broken today. One of my favorite players doesn't even know who I am. Don't you tell me about self-esteem issues with you, sir. But again, you did look very, very cute in your photo, Jonathan. I was very happy to say. I might even print it out and post it up somewhere in my office.
You can put it in the shed when you move up there.
Yeah.
Because you know, you've got a slot for my body right there. You know, you're gonna burn me there when I get to Australia.
I was gonna say, John. I mean, I don't need photo in the shit. That's not the real thing, right?
No.
Yeah. I mean, there's the issue of maintaining the body. You know, if you're gonna preserve it, Mike, that's some effort. I think a photo is a lot easier there, Mike.
No preserving, Jonathan.
What are you doing with that shit? It's gonna stink. It's gonna smell worse than two gamers who don't shower.
Well, we'll find out soon. I mean, I'm not sure if OB.Neon and or rather Januel and his partner have really showered yet. We'll find out. I mean, there is a bit of a break going on, so I suppose there's plenty of time to go ahead and take a bath. Any updates on the typhoon, Jonathan? Has anything happened? Hopefully not. I mean, I hope everything's well.
I got a red alert on my phone telling me there's flood risks, but it's like in OB.Neon, which is like maybe 30 to 40 kilometers out. So the rains are pretty strong here, and I'm not even near the typhoon. We're like in the tail end. It's like Cebu and Bohol, which is a bit of a risky spot. So again, anyone from there probably shouldn't be watching.
Brave,
Get to high ground.
Stupid.
Stay safe. Just notifications.
I apologize.
No,
just to update everyone with the in-game chat. Now Januel's asking if they know how to use a toothbrush, apparently, or Enryu in particular, whether he understands how a toothbrush works. I feel like that's a bit rude from Januel, assuming that he doesn't know how to use a toothbrush.
It's brotherly. These guys shared a team house for some time. They've seen each other, maybe very intimately as well. You can tell from the behind the scenes from OB.Neon. So, you know, maybe John will just misses Henry. This is his way of showing brotherly love, you know, by insulting him constantly. That's it. That's the Australian way.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Completely different topic once again, because we are still having disconnection. I've been considering, because you refuse to move to Australia so we can actually do some content and stuff like that. I've actually seriously been considering moving to Southeast Asia, just so you know, sir. After this damn pandemic's over, you never know, Jonathan. I might be knocking your front door. I hope you have the spare room available, sir. I'm not bringing the wife. She'll stay here. You and me. You don't have a spare room, John? I'm jumping in that bed behind you. It looks big enough for both of us.
It would be. We do have space. You know, come on in. It'll be in the basement. Just like where my body would be if I went to Australia anyways. So you'd be right at home, you know, down in the basement out there. All nice and comfy.
Daniel still going on about the poor toothbrush.
He's not getting an answer.
No, he's not. Can you translate that, John? Enryu has given an answer now.
Oh, okay. So don't show your butt, John. Well, is basically what he's saying. I know. It's like, why? Why not?
Expectation.
If it's in an appropriate time, you know, if it's appropriate, you could. Let's say a health inspection. That would be an appropriate time for showing your butt. Enryu?
What kind of health inspections have you been to, John?
I don't know. I don't know, Mike.
Let's get back to I can't do this anymore. Get back into the game. John's lost. Moving in game number 2, Fnatic versus OB.Neon. I believe OB.Neon had something like 2 to 3 minutes. Don't show Mars's butt, Mr. Production. Thank you for that. My goodness.
No.
Oh, goodness me. Good to see productions listening to us, John. For their own safety, I wouldn't recommend listening too much, but good to see them listening.
Yeah, no. A little bit from you is alright. If you listen too much, well, who knows? You kind of hit the button at some point. Like, it's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know how you cope with me nagging along every single time. Like, I just babble on forever, not going anywhere.
Remember that time I was literally deaf while I was cast? That was a very good moment. I could not hear a word you said, and I gotta tell you, we never casted better than that.
Okay,
surprisingly enough.
I just woke up, not even trying right now, and I'm like...
That's a technique. You know, maybe just have me on mute. It'll work just fine, Mike. I think that's the way.
Oh, good times. So we have a bit of an engagement down to the bot side, as Enryu has snuck around onto Januel and Armel. be dangerous here for Fnatic. They do get caught out with a spear here from Enryu. Narman, he's going to show up, and so will Mamangdaya. Mel will sort of just kind of man up and go for the bounce, but a big contribution. Mel looking to drop first, and he does.
Transcends
Massive slam of the shield there from Enryu. Just so much damage being pumped out. And, well, that's a fantastic start for OB.Neon.
Jumpy, man. And get a kill. Great wraparound by Enryu. I'm surprised Fnatic stuck around there, actually. Like, they saw the Mars, they've got the Warden low ground, so they knew he was coming in once they were close to the ramp. And they still opted to push the issue. Maybe feeling confident in their level 1, but you have to respect all the slows and damage and hit on hand. So a great start for Neon, and that will give an edge here in the matchup as well. Down mid, you're already seeing Armel kind of trying to deal with Mamangdaya on his. Yeah, we talked about Mamangdaya and his mid heroes. Kunkka is one of his best. He is one of those 3-4 players in C that love the mid Kunkka, and the matchup against Ember should be favoring him. He's got the Tidebringer to play with. He can just manage every single time when Armel does come in with a torrent.
That was a bow.
Stop DPS in there as well. For Armel, can play with Flame Guard. It's going to be hard for Mamangdaya to bring that down. At the same time, Flame Guard's not going to be blocking that Tidebringer damage. So even if he can maintain and clear out the wave, Mamangdaya will almost always win out in the right play there as well.
Oh, absolutely. And Mamangdaya, he's known for this hero. I mean, I'd argue this is his best hero. The Kunkka, so looking very forward to seeing the impact he has in game number 2 as top lane, or rather bot lane. There was a bit of action going on. Everything will be fine, but top lane, Palos, he's going to be in a bit of trouble. DJ getting very close to taking out the Morphling, but he does end up the strength morphing and getting through it. Because while we're here as well, you've got Palos and a Bang, of course, against DJ and Jabs. They did go with an off-lane DP here from the side of Fnatic. So far looking so good. Palos not really struggling too much, but the pressure has been there for DJ. I suppose though for Fnatic, at the very least, you just want to get that FB up on Jabs, and once you get to that level 6 mark, you can start abusing the exorcism timing.
You really want to get that push up and go for DJ. It's going to be important for the clockwork. Get some level spikes here. It's a tough lane for him to really work. And Abin can just constantly play with a chilling touch, make it hard for DJ to run up with a battery assault and try to provide pressure. You don't really have to worry about Jabs kind of like Palos, as we see every single time Jabs is close. Right side can work for persistent damage to make a short work of Palos. Gonna have to watch his positioning there as well. It's a weird back and forth lane because there's no synergy with Morphling AA, as the panel pointed out. You don't have something like, say, you know, like Dawn would have been perfect for Morphling. You see that time and time again. You just go full agi, pull the lane, farming all of Palos.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not sure if you're lucky there, Palos, but they do get him. Jabs able to take him down on the Death Prophet. Bang now being chased down, and to make matters worse, these damn creeps, they won't leave Bang alone. Just continuing to get vision over, but he does take it through his tier 1 power. So, but or rather, second kill of the game, going either way of Fnatic. And killing off Palos, that is going to be a big deal.
You're going to slow down the Morphling's initial spike into his items to farm. The core matchup against Luna, that's going to favor Raven every time. And he's having a much better time in his bot lane here, not going to be zoned out. You have the double stuns, but you don't land it, and you're fine with John Webb taking a hit.
Oh, Palos, he's panicking a little bit there. Top lane is, well, they do at least get any more down the bot side, so you do find the eye here for Enryu. Oh boy, that top lane, that's where all the action's been happening as far it feels. Palos, he's just been constantly hunting. Now they will not let them out alone.
Just applying pressure. They know the Morphling has to hit those early spikes with the blade timing and with everything else coming along. And if you stall it out, you know Raven will win the farm war. But he is much more set to clear out stacks, take the jungle a little faster, hit some early farming spikes. Neon, the one thing going really well for them is Mamangdaya lane. He is just controlling Armel really nicely. Not much of a network lead, or CS lead for that matter, but he does have a pretty nice EXP spike over him. He might hit level 6 faster than Armel can, and once you have that opening, you get punished.
Oh, it gets frozen as well. He will go down. Palos able to get some sweet revenge onto that Death Prophet. So it'll pick up OB.Neon. Make it a 1-3 in their favor. Going back to the point, I mean, Armel, he's really having a time in this mid lane, and like you said, Mamangdaya, I mean, while Armel is still mapping CS, in terms of just being able to remain within the lane, it's just not happening. I suppose it is to be expected. Again, it is Mamangdaya's special hero. Armel just trying to weather through the storm right now. It's not too the ball lane. They might make the jump in. Raven, he's going to be just fine. Narman, he'll go for the large camp port instead. That's going decently for OB.Neon. The Mars is doing pretty well right now.
He's finding levels, finding some farm. I don't think you're really stopping Raven enough to put the timing for the Luna though. Right? Maybe find Dragon Ball once you're close. That's great, but even holds lane, stays farms, he's pressured out. There is a bit of a chase top though.
Yeah, a bang. He has been caught out.
Bounty!
He's going to get the cold freeze though, so DJ, he'll just keep the teeth up a little bit. Has the tranquils up now, so he can just remain in the lane as long as he wants. It is in to try and cut out a bang here, but a bang, he seems to know something is awry. I scan out as well to give him over. Looks like he is going to be fine to try and pick him out as there's the tip up for DJ. DJ is still hunting him down though. He has not let this one go. The bang though by the T1 tower, he's going to be just fine.
Just gonna regen up. Palos is constantly dropping low though. He's gonna need a top up from a bang, at least have the salve. But I think again, the Morphling soft are a lot slower to start than relative to the Luna. The Luna's just gonna fight top. Does have this morbid mass coming in. He would have had if DJ snipe way to a big snipe from DJ. It's gonna limit Palos leaning with his jungling capacity as well. Just allow jabs to hit that spike. You can look for the level tick, force up top, or take down mid and just deny more Palos.
He'll be the target of Naps now. Barrier Assault does come in. He's still alongside Bang. He is eventually going to drop. They even force the rotation out from Nam here on that Sapphire. I'm not sure if it's exactly spotted out by Fnatic, but he is here trying to find a way to set up. But nothing's going to come off of it. And now the pings are there, so they definitely know the Snapfire is around. With that, they'll make sure to not get caught with their pants down. Nam, unfortunately for him, he's made a rotation that's just going to amount to nothing.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of things you can do with your Morphling as your base. Like at this moment, you can't really set up kills or look to burst someone down. You don't have the damage to control to deal with it. And Palos has to always juggle around at HP. Jab damage is way too high. DJ's just looking for ways to cut him off. Down mid, they are kind of pressuring. It is only the two supports holding the lane, so Arnold will be able to get even more farm. He is starting to pull a little bit more ahead on that Ember, just finding farm he needs. Spikes. Among Dot has hit his level 7 spike. He's had a go ship for a while. We haven't really seen that committed. So I think the slower pace from OB.Neon playing the Kunkka is hurting. Just not able to pin down the targets they need to. Eventually that death ball from Fnatic's gonna come online because Jabs and Rick are just having great times in their side lanes.
Yeah. Still a very high net worth lead here for Fnatic in this game, but to write home about. Very close matchup so far as Mamangdaya mid lane gonna find DJ, but will fly out. DJ will try to cogs up and buy himself a little bit of space, but Mamangdaya on point. Secure the kill very easily. That'll be his first of the game. Still top lane. Exorcism has been popped by Tabs. And that'll mean a top tower to drop as Palos, he's around, but there's really nothing he can do to defend.
Dire's top tower is falling.
Just can't stop that. And now Palos is going to be dragged into the jungle to farm. There is a little bit of stacks there, but again, he's just limited to Morbid Mask. Even the power threat's up, and Jabs is here to keep track anyway. So your Morphling's able to build up as much pressure is coming through from Fnatic. This is a timing we were talking about with that EP. You're not seeing Raven join in yet. He's building into the Morbid Mask. He can afford
Radiant's
a bit
bottom tower
slower. Just keep farming up until maybe your Manta or Dragonlance is on top of that. But Neon can't actually work the map despite that. You know, they're trying to shove in bot. Product just a lot slower for Mars. They've got the arena route, but they don't have the close to nothing yet. So they don't really have the follow-up damage unless Mamangdaya shows up, and Mamangdaya's been much more satisfied farming it anyway. So again, the game is a lot slower for Neon than they'd like the lineup, and Fnatic's just much more efficient across the map because of that.
Mel, that'll be a big goal if they can get it. Very challenging though with the remnants up. Among the fire, that's the X, but again with remnants available, Armel feel rather safe to just continue farming that creep wave. OB.Neon now, moving their way top.
Is under attack.
set up onto Jabs, who has stuck around quite deep in this top lane. Among Diet, slowly trying to get within range to get that X off. Jabs just trying to get within that fog to knock him the opportunity. He's got no help around him, so he might just be left behind as the torrent does come in, but Jabs don't juke it out. He'll get the X eventually for DPC now. He'll join Palace. He'll get to work though with the book. They've got Jabs locked down, but Palace, he still gets through the HP pool. The Mama Guy gets it done. Now Raven and Genuel, they'll relocate over. They will at least get themselves bang. Still a very favorable trade for the side of OB.Neon. Now DJ, he barely survives with that Ice Blast passive. In fact, bot lane now, Armel. He's gonna try down but you've got everything around here. Spot him out now. Cookie completely off the mark. Armel still trying, but Spear won't be there to lock him down. Or maybe he's just out.
Can't really deal with the Ember just yet. Even if they commit enough fall damage to keep him down to that time where he's in, it's not enough. They will hit level 6 on Norman soon though, Mike. The book is flying up for him. But they will have the kiss combination, and this is where Neon can start to play more as a group of 3. Run around with your Mars, and you have an AA or Kunkka join in, and kind of take these early team fights. This is where your lineup sells for Neon. They should try to apply that pressure. Just play passively like this again. We're seeing Raven just pick a bunch of stack in their triangle uncontested. Jabs is just keeping the top lane constantly shoved in. There's all the exorcism coming out, and there's always the threat of a relocate gank as well. Neon has to play while they're strong, buy space for Palace to keep farming up in whatever jungle he has left. Not much space for that Brooklyn because of that
Dire's top tower is under
attack. That's happen for the more.
Shot in, a bang, easy target here for DJ to set up on. They'll just take a nice easy +5 kill. That team 1 tower though is where they'll go. That's the whole point of getting rid of that K. Just being able to pop that exorcism and get to work on that tier 1 mid. But you've got Mamang Daya there to try and set up a defense, but he needs some help. They are slowly moving their way through that mid-river, but they're a little bit faster than that. Jabs, he's still going. He'll try to go onto Mamang Daya. Now Armel, he does scan out the support coming in. Jabs trying to take down that tier 1 tower, but the turret and boat can fly out, and DJ is going to be unable to save Jabs now. Well, he'll try to survive himself. He's going to make it to the fountain. Look like he may just barely be no, never mind, he's not okay. In fact, now you've even got enough. Anyone will drop, 3 to go down for OB.Neon, and it is a successful mid-tier 1 tower defense.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
We look to force in, forcing tier 1 now. They do not have the kisses. They will have arena back up as in case there's a defensive fight. I think they're still perfectly fine, and this tower should start to lead up to Energy's Blink. At 2,000 gold now, about 200 gold away. Once you do have that Blink, that's when the initiation can come out. Blink Arena, if a kiss from a mile away, get the able in as well, and you take control of these team fights. You do still have to worry about how much Raven's getting from that triangle area. He's constantly stacking for himself, building up farm. He has to drag plants up along with a massive madness, just looking towards that BKB next, and once he is protected with stall immunity, a lot of the early damage coming through from OB.Neon that Luna at all.
Oh, bot lane, MBU and Narman. Oh, the hook shot, it's off the mark, but it won't matter too much if they can lock down this mark, but it seems like they cannot. As DJ, he cannot make it in time for the cogs. With his hook shot, gonna seemingly mess them up there, and OB.Neon, they get everyone out of that bot lane. In fact, he smoked up. And bang. Heading up top, they want to set up Raven and Genuel. That's exactly what they'll do. They do come to the target. Ice Blast and Raven. He needs some help, but it's not coming. Genuel, he will sit there and try to get something. He'll get a team ward. It's about all he's going to get, though. He'll just try and tether away. And Ryu, he has Blink back up. That should be another nice speed set up here onto the IO. Another kill for the side of OB.Neon. In fact, across the map, they've even down Narman. Snap, at least for the side of Fnatic, but he does get caught out. These trades, they're just not worthwhile for Fnatic.
And Neon have just allowed themselves to build up, despite, you know, sacrificing a little bit to allow Raven to build up. They hit this item spike on Mamang Daya. He's got the Orchid, so you can control the Ember now. It's a lot of X combination. There's no defensive item yet on our Ember. jump onto F.
They will with the Eclipse. Sweet revenge there
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
for Raven. Neon, they've grouped up in their jungle though. They might try to make a counter initiation play to Fnatic, but no, it doesn't seem like it's Fnatic. They've already left the building. Won't give the opportunity to wait. Neon, they hold that net worth advantage.
Dire's
You've
middle
got
tower is
people
under
like Mama
attack.
Dyer having a fantastic game this in terms of net worth. Palace not too far behind either. Things still very close between these two teams. We're getting slowly to the point where Palace is going to have the Manta style. Might be able to join these team fights very soon.
Step lively now.
Not
Your
the
admiral is
first
on
and rushing the Manta first over the Eagle, but the durability for Palace will be big. More stats to play with, self-dispel for Suns, and some potential coming true for Palace could improve its survivability, and I think that's all they
Radiant
want.
are
No Palace is
scanning.
the prime target. They need some defensive items from first. Neon will go for another split. They've got the arena back up on Enry, so if they find a good angle, it should be an easy game.
DJ says break the smoke. Mel, just remnants out immediately. DJ, nice hook cut away, but the Ice Blast is going to give some vision. Among Dyer now looking for a rogue torrent, and he's got it. He gets the torrent off onto DJ. Not quite the target they wanted in the first place. Obviously, they were looking for Mel, but they'll have to take what they get.
You're still fairly happy in Fnatic, just sacrificing the work. The stall out time for these cores to farm. Like,
Dire's
Armel
middle
really
tower
needs that
is under
BKB.
attack.
He knows he's susceptible to that Orchid. Once the BKB's in play, a lot of the damage coming in from Neon's not going to be too much. So
Dire's
it'll give
top
them a
tower
lot
is
more
under
to play with
attack.
on Fnatic and allow them to actually counterfight. Of course, we are still stalling after Raven. So BKB's current lineup.
Mel, yeah, he's been caught out in read. It's so quick with the speed.
Radiant's bottom
That's
tower
a big
is
kill
under attack.
for OB.Neon. Big step on T2 tower. It's gonna take months to get through this.
Radiant
And
structures
this is something
are
that
fortified.
Fnatic really want to be doing. They're the ones that are meant to be taking towers. Jump, that is just not the
Radiant's
case
bottom
right now.
tower is under attack. Dire are scanning.
Progress a little.
Yeah, hook shot up and DJ. Got a nice start in the ball. No, under the high gravity, won't quite make it. They ignore him anyway. They'll try to go after Henry instead, and the buzz is going to drop. That'll be one. But Dyer, he's joined the team now. If they wanted to try and counter, only thinking about it. DJ gonna be under vision, and with the X and the offset out into the torrent, there is still help around if they want to try and keep DJ alive. They can't do it. Instead, they try and trade onto Narman. They go. Which target do you really want though? Narman, he'll be focused down by Jasmine. Although Armel, great double chains out. He's got great target here in the form of Mama Dyer and the Bang. They can't quite finish the job yet. Raven, he'll give up on the cooker. He'll try to chase the Bang on the AA and should eventually be able to get him. Will not be able to go through.
Back and forth fight does. I guess it still favors OB.Neon in the end because that was the fight that kind of built up from their arm. You still slow down the Ember, but Fnatic some scrap. Not completely out, but still Neon are playing to the base they didn't want to this line. They're so aggressive, playing around with the combination. They do have it on him. We did not manage to see the arena kills though, but that did get out the BKBs from Raven earlier on, so it's 8 seconds already. It's going to trickle down to 6, and once it's at 6, it's very manageable for Neon to play against those spell multi spikes. That protect spike for Fnatic is going to be counteracted in such a short position early on. Neon, good job of building up Palace as well. Man style has been up there for a while. Next, really just looking to tank up, get some more stats in, reduce some of the healing coming through from the IO as well, which is a big factor, as we did see them struggle with that in game 1. They are itemizing to kind of counteract that correctly, and they're also working towards their own fast KBs here. Mama Dyer just saving up for his, and Ryu is 2 parts away. So it's really going to be centered around that spell. Who can get their BKBs first, and who can get these big fights started while the enemy team doesn't have their own spell immunity up.
Yeah. Pretty big power spike. OB.Neon once they have those BKBs up.
Radiant are scanning.
Very close game, just a 1k net worth advantage for OB.Neon. We'll make it 2 now, but you kind of get my drift. Worth has not been rising too quick by the side. It seems like both teams now have to start setting up for that Roshan.
Of double damage.
We're an Ice Blast moving in to try and scan out Roshan. Mel, he's going to pop his
Dire's top
DD
tower
rune.
is under attack.
You might want to try and go for a big smoke play. There we go. 5-man smoking from Fnatic. See if they can make use of this DD. The Big and Henry are in position to break the smoke. They'll still be good targets. Zenryu, nice pick away. Quick reactions from the Mars. Can they get a hook shot on it? Not quite yet. DJ, he's having a look around. Hook shot, no, it's right in the
Radiant's
middle.
middle tower is under attack.
And that'll be it. They get an AA kill, but that's about all they can afford to get.
Neon gonna be happy with that. Because now they've got to be in Mamang Daya. So now they can actually force it and not care for a lot of that. So that's a big advantage.
He's got the illusion room, but that's not going to really save you. Perhaps Mamang Daya can though. No, he's somehow out, but DJ does get the rocket flare off in time. So Amel, he's been fought. It's a much better target for OB.Neon, but he's on the run now. The Eclipse comes in, Raven. He'll get in there. It does take down Envy as Amel. He'll be the survivor in all this. So OB.Neon, 3 heroes up, they can try to defend the mid-tier. Arnold scouting at the backside, chains out, they've got Palos, and he will banter it off. They cannot protect the tier 1 mid. And OB.Neon, they'll have to watch as it goes down.
This guy something.
Again though, I suppose 21 minutes in, not the biggest deal in the world.
It's been long enough for Neon. I think they managed to do a good job in just holding that mid-tier 1 up to this. The opposing mid-tier 1 a lot earlier as well. It's still a shot.
They found Narvan. Relocate play here from Raven and Genuel, but Narvan's got help again coming in. Orchid's be there from Mamang Daya. Relocate in 4 though. Oh, with the X on Raven. For BKB, and he'll be okay. Nice BKB usage, or rather forceage from our Conquer though. Mamang Daya getting something. They're trying.
They don't lose their support. They managed to bait out the BKB.
Radiant's
It's going to be
top tower is
7
under
seconds
attack.
now, and just a step away from the
Radiant
6. And
structures
once it's
are
at 6,
fortified.
Neon can start to think about their angles a lot better. You know that they've only waited 6 seconds to get the arena combinations off. There's not a big window left for Raven to just stand there and get this first damage going.
Radiant's top
So
tower
Neon can
is
just
fallen.
play around that fact. Palos, very close to that
Dire's
Scotty now,
bottom
Mike. The
tower
stats
is
are
under
building
attack.
up. The healing reduction's going to be there. It's going to really hurt the IO combination that you have running here on Fnatic. And that they are keeping an eye on Roche. You have to be able to kind of keep scouting out the rocket flare. But Neon are in a good position to actually force that objective if they want to. They've got forwards watching pit. They may be a little bit of damage. That's making them hesitate just a bit. But if they want to force it, they could. And we will have clips up in a few seconds. Still there with Exorcism, so there's some speed fight in that area. I think the main angle here is going to have to be DJ on the clock. He's going to have to find a really good hook shot angle here.
We're going to try and smoke it, see.
Dire's bottom
Pips up
tower
in
is under
1.
attack.
Great timing here for Fnatic as OB.Neon. They'll get through half the Roshan HP, but that's going to be enough. They just want to force Fnatic to rotate.
Radiant are scanning.
DJ, do you want to force the fight? Very hard when you move on high ground jungle. He wards out. Your start. The ward there from Mamang Daya, but I believe he only got the sentry ward. It's a bit unfortunate. Trying. He'll be shot. Nice up from DJ. He comes to the target. They have not got the A down back. It might be DJ to drop first, but no. Genuel will save the day. And the Eclipse comes through. Got Narvan. Fire. He's going to try and get hit, but it's not looking good for him. It is not looking good whatsoever. He's gone. He jams, he will drop the end of Palos, but now Palos managed to exit. Now Palos, he's dropping rather fast though, and he's gone. With the Spirit Vessel out, they take him down, and now a full team wiped out for the side of Fnatic as they get all 5 from OB.Neon. To make it a 6 because they're going right after Roshan.
Can you read the Rorschach damage we have on Raven? Neon getting caught out by that hook shot and just cutting off the Kunkka, immediately forcing A into a very awkward position. Only ice blasting jabs puts away that used to kisses earlier on, so it's not landing with the arena control. A lot of that fight from Neon was just cut off because they were forcing it to a sword. Got a bit too greedy, trying to cut off the information, make great use of it. They've got
Blessings upon a
got the second life on Raven. Our Loon is growing a bit too big for them to handle. Silver Edge is up, Scotty next for Raven, so he's also going to be fully statted up. Lots of HP to have to rip through, and the protected guy is still at play. Yeah, now they have to be the aggressors. They can't afford to be jumped in like that. Their counter is there. Finding the angles when Fnatic jumped in 1v1, kind of playing the distance game, poking prodding from far, makes it hard for Enryu to find those big ideal arenas when the fights started. So I think Neon got to be the ones on the aggressive. 5k is not too bad to play against. They are still doing well on Palos. Scotty's up. He might need more to protect himself as well.
You know, Enryu gets the Spirit Vessel's there. He's dropping very fast, and now DJ, great hook shot out. The angle.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Tower, without your Mars up, it's very hard to expect the defense to come.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Never mind. Hey, you're going with January. Look, back to farming instead and just trying to address the mid creep wave. There's just no rush for Fnatic. They're just very confident. Eventually, they'll be able to shut this game.
I mean, they have that late game scaling. I think there is utility coming through, right? Like in the late game, Kunkka with Ags can be pretty scary, but that's a long time away from Lomang. I guess there's a potential for morphling Ags into Kunkka with double Torrent Storm. I don't really know if that's great, but it is a really strong availability. And once BK is taken down again, that's when where the Kunkka does shine. So there is still some scaling left for Neon and just morphing that's also working through the game. But I think Fnatic are a lot stronger at this moment. With a 6k lead, with Aegis up, they rip through the tier 2, they take a push, they can think about the high ground if they want to. Neon does have team fight with Arena, but there's a lot of pressure to actually find the angles for the defense.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Even with that Aegis up, start moving in. That's hit 3. You've always got Genuine behind to make sure he does remain alive. He's get caught. In the meantime, the triangle jabs will move in on the power for the hook shot. DJ finds another angle. Starts is there. He's taking a real bad bump. He'll manage off the vessel, but he's still dropping. He'll try, but he cannot make it out. It's just too much damage from jabs. And now they find a bang. I mean, Mats or not, John, it just didn't seem to matter.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
There's just too much follow-up control from like using that Manta is a really tricky job for Palos, and he does kind of pop it to farm as well. So right in that middle of the fight, he had it immediately. There was a bit of a cooldown.
Okay, whatever, dude.
So he
I just woke
couldn't
up,
even
not
try
even
to
trying
run.
right now, and I'm
Fnatic
like...
just keep catching up. They're really using their game here in Fnatic as well. They've got really good offensive boards. They've been using clockwork boards and IEs.
Oh, another great hook shot. Down in. You need forced down. A lot of damage from Raven, but it's not going to be enough. Still with usage, making it very hard to defend high ground now for Enryu.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
It doesn't seem like they're going to try and push for that advantage though. It's a half on the Aegis, but it seems like they want to try and address the bot tower instead.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Just clear out the objective. There's no rush for the high ground. They still
Dire's bottom
you
tower
get team fight
has fallen.
on the high ground. Again, Arena Kisses, Torrent, Ice Blast. There's a lot within such a confined area. Might as well keep it safe and keep shutting down the map, keep building that lead. For Fnatic. Even though looking for an angle.
Melter, he's fine. They go back in to a big DJ just heading up. They've got the AA down pretty much onto Henry to go. Raven, it's got the equip. Henry's got the BKB, but it's a bit hitting. None of the Mars. Just hit everything else around it. It's gonna last Mel. Henry, he still sees quite a bit of trouble. You end up dropping. I'm not sure if that was even out of range or it was just purely bad luck. The fight still continues, Momentire. He'll be KBTP away. Goodness. Fnatic, regardless of how much bad luck they have, they still win at the team fight.
Yep. And it still works out in the end. They still eventually find Enryu. I don't think they really miss out in that deep chase anyway, as OB.Neon were on their way to retreat. So all ends up well for them, and Fnatic. No, bad luck. It's bad luck. It happens. They have vision in that area as well. Like they have vision the camp, so it was bouncing around a little bit more than you'd want.
Double damage empowers me.
Off Neon's angles. Like they still aren't finding the combinations they want. They all in.
He's been shot up again, DJ! Oh, the perfect setup here from our Clockwork.
Dire's bottom
It's
tower
very
is
hard,
under
John. He's got the axe up. Double hook shots there, and poor old Palos, you get a hook shot once, you're basically as good as gone.
Dire's bottom tower.
BKB up, a big being focused on it, gets on the AA, and now Jabs, he'll jump in. They've already got the man control within his own arena, as Jabs just chases the rest down. Nama, we're all safe within the fountain. I can say the same C3 bottom tower though. Seems like it's going to go relatively here.
And it will much they don't have arena. They have the
No, BK this time for genuine around. It's kind of hard to actually take down the Ember. Just kill him off with his ire. Palos though, he gets in and he has enough damage for the Eclipse. Comes out Raven. Uses it on the BK mini timers. So not the most effective ulti here from Raven. So shot in DJ again, finding that primary target. They've got the Morphling, they've got the silences of the cookie. It might have it's for him. And he got the hook shot again to DJ. He's not done. It's all himself. No backup. He hasn't got damage.
If I go in, I might die. If I go in, I might die.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Prepare for a lesson.
Try to make the big play. And you're still satisfied you're on Fnatic then. Yeah, you lose RML, but you mentioned you're back on top. Only 2 lanes left for them to clear out. OB.Neon are still stuck in really awkward position. They have good high ground defense. They're not finding the opportunity to get that on. Like, it's all very scattered spell uses. Enryu's arenas are very defensive now, high ground hold. BKBs, Fnatic's popping them a lot faster and better than OB.Neon is. Again, because Neon needs to be the aggressors, even if those BKBs are at 6 seconds now. As long as that's within the 6 seconds that Enryu's using his arena to get the kisses off, still perfectly happy. You still don't have the punishment for BKBs fading away on the Kunta. You don't have the action built up here. Mambai is still trying to finish that AC he's had for the past, 10 minutes now, and the AC is good and topping up. I think at this point you have to think about utility. You have to think about stopping that jump in. The Torrent Storm, the Tidal Wave even on the action might allow you to get a bit of precision in these fights, but that's still almost a dream for Mom at this point. At least they got the Satanica up, so he does have second Dispel on hand, but Fnatic, you're not going to wait around for too long.
Orders on Mel. Ryan has got the hook shots there. DJ again with the toss push back. Mamantaya will be saved by that spear by Enryu. Still kind of bent up. Shots up. Then up in the cost. Meanwhile, Envy denying this zone arena, but Sol's on Mel. Dropping so darn low. A lot enough. Not so as OB.Neon, who are dropping like flies right now. Shot's going to try, but there's just no way up. GG.
This reward.
What an impressive performance from our Clockwork, John. You've got him DJ. These last 15 minutes have just been spectacular from him.
Amazingly well. He really set up, used the flares effectively, managed to find the angles every single time with a hook shot, and was aggressive. It was because of him Fnatic were finding the best angles in these fights, preventing Neon from getting the jump first with their arena combinations. And because of that, Neon's entire draft centered around having good arenas up. They needed arena kisses, they needed arena boat, torrent, and the ice blast on top. And because they weren't jumping in first because of DJ, none of that came to fruition. So very well played from Fnatic. I think OB.Neon had a really strong idea there, going all in those team fights. But we said it at the start of the game, like they needed to execute with that lineup. And it looked like the same issues from game one. They just couldn't find angles to kind of deal with Fnatic here.
Absolutely. Hopefully with the series over now, the Genuel and of course his partner can go and take a shower and have their bath as they were discussing in the game. Of course, you and I, we're going to go take our own shower, Jonathan. It's time to throw to a break, and right after the break, we'll be back with our lovely panel to talk about this series. See you then.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The monkey's just bouncing around looking for some information more than anything. That's exactly what he'll do. Oh, what information he's giving here.
Radiant are scanning.
That's a full smoke broken up by him, but now they know he jumped. They saw him.
Deforestation going on right now. Tiger's gonna catch out with the stun, but they don't have the right tree again, so Mira's gonna be able to put himself away to safety. 3 heroes occupy for about 30 seconds.
And Tiger actually had pails, and Mar had the Clouding Blade. Just didn't use it fast enough to cut more trees. I believe they cut only the one, right? And it wasn't the right one, sadly, for them.
In that moment, yeah. Before you can they can see where the spike is, they know the general area, but getting it back proved a bit tricky for them. So...
game definitely slowed down a bit, right? Like it's a bit more chill now.
Yeah, it did. Actually, actual bolting here, let's talk about what happened for our eyes. That's annoying.
Well, the Chen did steal another dominated creep, so that's what just happened in front of my eyes, and I...
Hooray! Got the tree! There we go. We get to kill her now.
You can keep your magic. I have laser beams.
He's still going for the overload, I guess. No, the utility that the item brings is just way too high not to take it. So
yeah, that does seem to be the choice. Also, when you get those ancients, the Chen can't take agents for a while. Right?
Yeah, Chen can, but you can eat them with the shards right around the 20-minute mark.
Yeah.
Which will be pretty dead sad for collapse.
Okay, so we get 20-minute mark. The Chen and the Nightstalk will be able to eat. So you got 20 minutes. You got 6 minutes actually. 5 minutes. Helm the Overlord pay. Better see some magic happening. Meanwhile, Little Tower will
step out, collapse,
and grabs it.
I like your style.
Well, he needs what? 200 gold more. So it's gonna be around that 18-minute mark probably.
All right. 2 minutes then to make that pay off. Don't rush it, bro. You got this.
It's like on paper, it was the way we're just take the creep away. Easy and all that.
Yep, they've got it. But at the same time, they really haven't no one here to follow up the puck because I'm just gonna get punched in the face instead by a goes down to beating as you know, it feels good to catch Tinker like that, but he couldn't just let his prey go, you know. He should have back to it. He was like, man.
Yeah, afterwards. Because of that kill, right? Like with the Bane, you can sleep him, and he's doing that a lot of game. He would leave the target around those stairs, then there would be a follow-up, but this time around, he's even doing it during hits.
First first round of the game, go to Rookie. We'll have the ages of for the next fight. That's gonna be pretty scary. Team Spirit fight into. Any chance of killing this weed? Oh, pretty much none. They don't have the lockdown. Actually, they've got Bane and Raw. They can't do it. Through 2 lives can be very difficult with the team behind.